When I get them back out here though, I think I need to give them much smaller pasture areas so that they are driven to eat everything there. Good morning. Mark, welcome back to the farm. Big storms last night. Big storms. Lots of thunder, lots of lightning, lots of rain. So that little area down there is just turned into a pond. You can hear the little frogs. They're going crazy this morning. Mr. and Mrs. Mallard here. They're back checking out, seeing what the chickens might have left behind in the pasture. But before long, they'll be over there in that water and just sort of floating there. I'm gonna move the chickens this morning, the big girls. But I gotta check the ground first because the place that I'm taking them to can get pretty wet, pretty muddy when it's rained like this. So I gotta check this out first. Yeah, I think it'll be all right. It's a little soupy over here in this area. Yeah, I think it'll be okay. I'll swing the big coop around and pull it up here in between these trees. And it'll be lined up so that next time I move them, I can just hook up and pull it straight through. Frogs. Oh, and cows entering the scene. There they are, all set here. I did choose to block off the water so that they couldn't get all muddy, because they will. There's little frogs out there, they're going for it. Now the question is, will they run to their feed or will they go looking for little froggies? Well, they started toward the feed. They have changed their mind. There's a few of them still back there. They love this section. Always so much to do for them. You guys are standing in the water. Meanwhile, the little girls, the pullets, they're high and dry. The section that they're in up here is kind of one of the high points on this part of the land, whereas those girls now are down by one of the low points. And for those who live in more hilly or mountainous country, that amused you greatly to hear me refer to high ground and low ground, where there's a difference of maybe 15 feet of elevation. These girls are getting big though. Couple more months, they'll be big enough to hold their own against the big girls. And then we'll integrate the flocks. Big storms last night, I talked about that. A little more rain today. I haven't seen it tell me how much it is, but check this out. This is a 100-gallon livestock feeder. Trough, water trough. So that much. That can't be right, right? That's like 6.5 inches. It's crazy. Just moved these guys. Big boy here always goes for the tall grass in the feeder or in the raised bed. Can't help himself. That's his power zone. Well, the steers were out here around the raised beds. They thrashed my sprinkler. I like that system, man, but they knocked it down. That's what they do. And I moved them over here, and I put the line right up next to the pole barn because that grass was getting long along there. So they are helping themselves to all that. And this is a very large pasture, so they'll be in here for a little while. Here's the problem with this plant. I gave them 3 relatively large pastures in the last, week or so. And as I stand here, right, all this grass on the mound is eaten down. that was all sod when we put it in, because we had to put it in on top of the leach field, the drainage field for the septic system. Everything else, though, is not eaten. It's still pretty long. And one of the things that I have not done, I mean, it feels good to give them a lot of space because it feels generous. And that's, you know, kind of how we are sometimes as people. We want to be generous. But the fact that they have eaten really very little of this stuff out here tells me that I gave them too much space. There was no sense of scarcity. There was no scarce of competition for the resource. So they didn't eat all this. And I'm going to have to come through and clean this up afterwards. So they got this large pasture area here. A fair chunk of it is going out through areas that are still developing that used to be woods. But they'll be here for a little while. And then they're going back into the section over there that is the woods, and I'll rotate them through those. When I get them back out here, though, I think I need to give them much smaller pasture areas so that they are driven to eat everything there. I know 21's going to let me hear about it. He's a bit of a mooer. But I think that's going to have to be the plan if I want them to actually eat everything that's in the pasture and to get them cleaned up. Yeah, I'll think about that some more. Just moved the girls onto new ground again this morning, and look at this. Here's their feed. There's one who's eating some there, and the rest are off exploring new ground. Be happier putting their chicken superpowers to the test than just eating feed out of a tray. Over in the west pasture, out near the wetlands, here on the west side of the property. And this area out here is growing back up pretty good. I mean, it looks full when you're looking at it. When you look down, you can see it's pretty sparse. This ground is also soft, so steers are going to puck this up pretty good, but that's all right. I don't mind that down here. So I'm running the tape across. There's more forage in the area that they're in, but I'd like to move them on. So I think I'll probably try and get them moved over tomorrow. And so I've got the one line run up here to this corner, which is this reel, and then I got another one coming this way, which will go all the way up to about the spine of the property there along the farm road. And then I use jumpers in between to hold the fence connection in place, and then to carry the current over from one fence to another. This is what I mean by jumpers. They're pretty basic. It's just a cord between these two types of clamps, and I just snug them down good so it'll hold the two pieces of poly tape together, but also make sure that the current carries from one to the other. Nothing too cosmic. Get them over at Tractor Supply. So, and I don't know what they are, $5, $6, something like that. And once I'm done getting all the connections, I will actually, this reel, since it doesn't have a stand, I just loop it over the top of the fence post and keep it off the ground so it doesn't ground out. And then come all the way up through. And back here to the intersection here where I put on another one of those just to hold all that stuff together. And then that fence goes over to the edge of the corral elements. Oh, look, you think you're gonna move today? He's such a pill, this one. He's the only one who talks. Everybody else does good. This guy starts mooing the minute he sees me set up fence. Yeah, he's smart enough to figure out how it works. But you're not moving today, buddy. Yep. Pen is set, and water is filling up so that tomorrow when I move them in here, all I need to do is move the Energizer over and hook it up, and they're good to go over here. They can start working on this grass, which isn't that much. I'll probably leave them in here for a day and a half before I set up another one over on this side and get them moving further in. Again, taking them all the way down before they go back on the pasture grass again. Well, I think that's going to do it from here. We'll talk to you guys later.